What's
And
up?
we're back. Hello.
Hey y'all.
Wow. Well, look who's back. I didn't think you were going to be back
Right.
this week.
Yeah, only one
Team's
week. Only
here.
1 week out there. Yeah, I'm happy to be back.
Oh,
So happy to be back home.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
back
nice to see
home.
y'all. Nice to see y'all.
It's
Nice to see you too.
Mhm.
Miles, you got the curls popping.
Yeah.
Come on, wet and wavy.
Are you in your
Come
secret
on,
location?
man.
You're giving me secret location
I'm
vibes.
in my secret location today. You
Okay.
know, I did get some highlights just to, I like blonde in my
Okay.
hair, so I thought I'd
Yeah.
add some blonde in there because that's kind of like what I do.
Yeah.
Just kind of let it grow
Okay.
out. So yeah, I've been vibing, as usual. Been putting out a lot of sex work content. So
Good
Yeah,
that's
it
been-
was giving
so
me
what
that.
I've been doing lately.
Are you sitting and speaking to us in the nude right now at your bottom half? Because I'm kind of feeling like you're nude.
I actually have these
Okay.
like
Oh,
booty
you're my
joggers.
favorite.
Yes.
It's giving a very secret sex situation.
Right.
I almost came on with just underwear, but I was like, let me be smart. Change the camera angles
Just in
here.
case.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm definitely in the secret location, enjoying myself, having a nice
Yes.
cocktail.
Oh, what are you having? It's very clear. Is that tequila?
No, it's just some gin and water, some Bombay and water. It's my
You
favorite
know
thing
what?
to drink.
I've been on like a tequila and soda water type of vibe
Ooh, okay.
lately. Yes.
It's nice and simple.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Less headaches too because it's not so much
okay.
sugar for me.
That must be a
Oh, okay.
Because I never drink anything.
Oh, no.
I don't like sweet drinks. I only like it with the water.
I
or
love a
just
sweet
straight.
drink.
I
See,
used to
I
like
drink-
sweet drinks.
I drink Cape Cods. I can do a Cape Cod, which is like cranberry and vodka, and I can roll with that.
Yeah, I used to do all of that too. But
Okay,
you
okay,
see how
yes. That
you see how
is
thick my face is getting? It's the sugar and the carbs. So I know I'm not going to stop drinking, so I could put
So
the
you gotta
club
put
soda
the
in
water.
there.
Right,
Water.
yeah.
That's how I get around it.
Yeah, that's how you do it. But I like that hat you got on, Sean. It's cute.
Thank
It's
you.
pink. I like the
it
pink.
matches,
Oh, pink.
with my aura today.
Mhm.
Yeah, but this week, all I really did, we had a new magazine released today, Rhythm and Culture.
Mhm.
So that's really cool. It's the dance edition for Colored Block Magazine. We had a student go ahead and take a nice little photo for us. Her name is LaShira. So congratulations to her. She's from Spelman, and she actually did our cover for Rhythm and Culture. And that's out today if you guys want to cop that. But that's all I've been doing all week, that and therapy.
Oh, well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Jalon, you was in LA. So you probably had the most exciting week.
Yeah. It was
So how was
fun.
it?
Fun. Yo, it was different on the West Coast. I really like it. I'm really thinking about moving out there. So
Isn't the energy just so different? Like when you wake up and you're like, wow, this is life, right?
It's complete. It's like
that good?
terrain.
No, really, it is though.
Like, yeah, it's kind of like New York, but a way more peaceful. You know what I'm saying? If you downtown in the city, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know, like it was an orange tree in the front yard. It was just nature, like it was just so nice. It was so nice.
And then the people are cool, and you just what I like about California, you just feel like, okay, now I'm living, now I'm alive. You know, it's just
I
interesting.
didn't meet that one person with bad vibes out there. The vibes was amazing. I know, like the smokes, my good, so I was good on that. It was a good experience, man. I'm definitely going back. I didn't get to go like out like I wanted to, but that's why I'm going back for it. So it was cool.
How was the wedding? You caught the bouquet?
Oh,
No?
the wedding was spectacular. Like the wedding was immaculate. It was good though. I had a good time. They spent a lot of money out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Living the life.
Yeah, it was straight. I know I was stressing about the fit. I ended up
Right.
pretty good. So
You got it right though. You know what I'm saying? Keeping it player.
Thank y'all. Yeah. My brother had a good time.
Very handsome.
Welcome my new sister to the family. So yeah, it was good vibes.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yes,
So
sister.
Right.
did you get drunk?
I did. I got fucked up a couple times. I was there for a week. I was fucked up.
Okay.
3 or 4 days out of that week. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, shout out to you. Well, welcome to California, and we love to have you back. All right, so let's get into some things, because last week, Miles, you were making it the fuck up. Oh my God.
Look, we all have our different filters on life, right?
No. Oh my God. I mean, you had me ready to jump off a cliff last week. But
I had no intentions of that. No intentions of that.
But it was yet a legendary show. A lot of people loved it. And it was one of our lengthier shows. It was like 2 hours.
Yeah,
It was. Yeah, you know, we stretched it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Right, and it got heated towards the end. That was awesome.
Yeah,
it got there.
We gonna stretch you out.
Oh. All right. So, listen, so we got a couple of things to talk about. Now, listen, I know traditionally this is the boys chat. However, we do cover LGBTQIRAS, whatever topics, right? And so oftentimes, even though a lot of this community does not align with us, they fall into our topic base. So I only think it's right today to offer up a transgender female to join the panel if they would like, because we just have transgender, a lot of trans topics today. So if there is a transgender that is on camera with good quality internet and can turn their phone horizontal, please click into the live stream. If not, just wait till we take calls. Okay, with that being said, we are going to talk about Tammy Roman and her daughter coming out as bisexual and the conversation that she had with T.S. Madison. We're also talking about Willow Smith being polyamorous. We're talking about Janet Mock saying, fuck Hollywood. And you know what? I cheated on my nigga. And we're also going to be getting into CAITLYN, a.k.a. Bruce, a.k.a. I don't know what the fuck, a.k.a. Governor possibly of California, says that if you are born a biological boy, you should not be competing in female sports. All right. So, and I think the last, if we can get to it, we're going to talk about secrecy within a relationship. You know, what's private, what should be private and what should not be private. Okay. So it sounds like we have a loaded show. So let's get started. All right. First order of business, Tammy Roman. That was really extra what I did. Huh?
It was, yes. Very news reporter.
All right. Hold on. Let me do this in case somebody wants to come in too. Let me invite. I'm only looking for trans right now to click the link. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Boom. Why are you guys gagging at me?
No,
It's this voice. This voice.
It's everything for me.
Okay. I'm not going to do this today, okay? We have to get through the show. This cannot be a 2-hour show. I have to go to brunch today. Okay, look. Let's go.
But Tammy, this is why I asked, are you more hurt because of the way the world is going to treat her?
No, I'll fight to the ends of the earth for my daughter when it comes to the world. I'm more concerned and disappointed in how I am treating her, because I love my daughter so much. Like, I love her with all my heart. But it was very difficult. I can't, you know, and I hate to say it like this, but you know, because you sound like those people like, I'm not racist, I have black friends. It's like, I can't be homophobic because I have so many gay friends in my family, in my team, my squad, but gay always felt like something that was over there.
Right.
In my house. And so how do I deal with it? How am I supposed to deal with it when it's something that I wasn't prepared to do?
But Tammy, this is why I asked, are you more hurt because of the way the world is going to treat her?
No, I'll fight to the ends of the earth for my daughter when it comes to the world. I'm more concerned and disappointed in how I am treating her, because I love my daughter so much. Like, I love her with all my heart.
What do y'all think about that?
I think.
Well, I feel like we should have already known her daughter was going to be a little bit bisexual. I mean, you can kind of tell, you know what I'm saying? So, but I feel like a lot of people share that same sentiment, especially parents, you know what I'm saying? They can have friends, they can have relatives that are gay, but once it's them, kind of like what she was saying, it's in my side of the fence now. So I have to deal with this struggle very similarly to how my child is going to deal with the struggle. And it's very scary, especially in these times where we have people that don't like us, and they make it a point to try to set up bills and different things to prevent us from being our full selves. So, I mean, I feel like she was honest in that moment, and she was just letting us know, like, yeah, I have people that know, you know, that are like that, but at the same time, for me, like, it's different when it's one of my own.
Yeah, this is why I say I feel like, you know, and I love my girls, and I love, like, this is why I say my fish friends. See, I'm gonna keep it a stack. This is why I always tell the boys, like, you got to be careful with fish sometimes, because, you know, no, at the end of the day, you know, they love you until you know, until it hits home, right? So it's like secretly there's still that undertone of, you know, I like you because you're gay, but I would never want my family member or never want my child or my kid to be gay. You know what I mean? So there's secretly a little bit of resentment. There's an undertone of resentment, a slight tinge of homophobia, you know, when it comes to, you know, women and gay people at times. You know, and that's just what it is. And I think she's disappointed because, hell, now she has to deal with the fact that she's a little bit homophobic, because it was the fact that it was gay was always over there. When she made that statement, it was like, yeah, I don't care if that person's kid is gay or that person, but my kid could never be. But I can deal with someone else's kid being gay, but not in my household. She can barely even formulate a sentence because she's breaking down at the fact that her daughter might be licking pussy.
I mean, and to be fair, though, I mean, she's a public figure, so she's going to have to go through this times 10, times 100, because all of her business is out there. So, yeah, she might be okay. That has nothing to do with anything.
What does that have to do with
anything? It has to do with the fact, it has to do with the fact that people are looking at her. People are going to make comments. There are going to be homophobic people that are going to jump at her and tell her, you know what I'm saying, your daughter's this and your daughter's that. And, you know, you don't have to deal with that as much when you're not a public figure. So that does have, like, it's attached to her reputation is basically what I'm saying. So she's going to have to deal with that.
I'm happy this happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, I think she's being used as an example. You know what I'm saying? I think this should happen a lot more often, you know? Yeah, the fact that she thought she understood our lifestyle, or she thought, you know what I'm saying, she could handle it. And then when it hits so close to home, it's a totally different story. I'm not mad at all. I'm happy. I'm happy that she's experiencing this, because it's not the same once it's you know, somebody that you're close to. You might think so, but it's not always the case. So I think people should take this as an example. You know what I'm saying? I think people should understand just a little bit more about our lifestyle, or whatever the case may be, about accepting us, or the people just around him in general. Because honestly, I think most people use us as assets and assets only, and that's why she was just so fine with it, because they're just assets to her life, and not really somebody that she really loves. You know what I'm saying? That's close to her life.
So assets like accessories, handbags, the makeup artist. You know what I'm saying? Those kinds of things. I'll dress you, girl.
They're benefiting you. You know what I'm saying? They're helping you do something. So when somebody's so close to home, it's like, how do I handle it? You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate the situation, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. It reminds me of my mom, and I just think it's a beautiful thing. I feel like more and more this is gonna happen, and it's gonna bring people together and all that stuff. I feel like it's a part of Tammy's personal awakening process for something like this to happen to her. So that's awesome. It's awesome.
And I love the fact that she's honest. You know, she was willing to get out there. She was willing to be honest. She was willing to say, like, you know, I don't have any experience with this. This is something that I probably, you know, I'll accept it, but at the same time, this is new to me. And with her being a public figure, she's going to get a lot of backlash from people that are homophobic and don't understand. So I'm glad that she's in the position of defending her daughter, because she's going to need to. And that's just an honest fact.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with all of that, and I just don't agree with her being a public figure. What that has to do with anything? Because I just feel like I feel like there's many public figures that are gay. I feel like even if you're not gay, people's families have to go through a lot of backlash. Even if you're not a public figure, hell, my mama was worried about the backlash she was gonna get, you know, from her friends in the church. So I mean, you know, so you being a public figure, who gives a shit? That sounds like rich people problems. You know what I mean? Me being gay should not, you know, is I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
my mom was pissed when I put it on Facebook.
yeah.
In middle school.
You know what I mean? So it's just
High
like,
school.
it just sounds like for me, I mean, it's great. Like, I'm with Jelon. I'm glad that it had to happen because it's kind of like, yeah, girl, while you were thinking that homegirl over here or homeboy over here, they were gay, and you didn't have to worry. In your mind, you thinking, yeah, girl, I love gay people. I accept gay people. My people ain't gay, though. That's what that's giving.
Right.
You know what I mean? I love y'all. Yeah, girl.
That's what a lot of them give.
Right.
Yeah, until it's like over in their side.
You know what I mean? They give up.
Then it's
and then until it's like now she over here crying.
But as things become more normalized, this will keep on happening.
You know what I'm
and it's
saying?
a beautiful thing.
That's true.
She's really going through a realization. It's beautiful watching that. I mean, she's
but you know what though? She's going through the realization, but with her and the fact that she is a public figure, and I know you guys don't agree, that works in her advantage because there are people that look up to Tammy that will see Tammy and be like, okay, if Tammy can deal with this, she can be honest and straightforward about it, then so can I. So it is a step towards something better. You know what I'm saying?
She serves as an example.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with
Oh,
that.
definitely.
All right, let's move on a little bit further into the nonsense. Willow Smith comes out as polyamorous.
Girl, we knew that.
Yeah, now this is something that we knew.
Allegedly.
Example, let's say you haven't always been the kind of person that wanted to have sex, but your partner is. Are you going to be the person to say, just because I don't have these needs, you can't have them either? Right. Yeah. And so that's kind of one of the reasons why I actually was interested in poly, because I was introduced to it through kind of a non-sexual way. In my friend group, I'm the only polyamorous person, and I have the least sex out of all of my friends.
Right.
Could you imagine being in a group and loving everyone equally?
No.
It's being
No.
relationship revolution, polyamory, engaging in multiple intimate relationships at the same time, with nearly half of marriages ending in divorce.
The main reasons why divorces happen is infidelity.
Less couples are saying I do, and more young people are experimenting with a new kind of love.
How did you feel when I told you that I was polyamorous?
It feels like it's really all just centered around.
I mean, I'll give
sex.
you an example. Let's say you haven't always been the kind of person that wanted to have sex all the time, but your partner is. Right. Are you going to be the person to say, just because I don't have these needs, you can't have them either? Right. Yeah. And so that's kind of one of the reasons why I actually was interested in poly, because I was introduced to it through kind of a non-sexual way. In my friend group, I'm the only.
Okay, so what we think about that?
Them being such an open family, I'm not surprised at all. It's nothing that I wasn't already kind of.
I thought she was just a lesbian.
Yeah,
I thought she was bisexual. I figured that was gonna go more for
all just free spirits. So.
Yeah,
that too.
I mean, just with the Red Table Talk and the way that they present online, I mean, that family is very just kind of like whatever is. So I wouldn't expect her to pick a box at all. So for her to reveal that she's polyamorous, like, that's not new news. Like, I figured that was going to be the case for her. Yeah.
Well, let's unpack this a little bit.
Okay.
Could any of you guys be polyamorous? Have you thought about it? Like, I've thought about it before, because I'm thinking, like, is that the new relationship? Like, let's really talk about it, because I feel like in our community as gay men, that may need to be what the case is, because most men are cheating anyway.
But then again, I think like we're all human and we get jealous. Well, me, I'm speaking for myself. I get jealous. You know what I'm saying? I can't handle that. I can't do all that.
Yeah, no,
I can't do that.
Polyamorous is whole other relationships.
I just can't.
Yeah.
So you've never thought about, what if I had two
So
boyfriends?
I thought about it.
I mean, I'm not saying you thought about it to want to do it, but you thought about it like, could I do this? Is this what it would be?
I mean, I've definitely thought about it. I thought about the experience, but then when I think about having to share, like, that's when it's just no, I'm not really seeing. But you know what sticks in my head whenever I think about that? I think about True Life, when they had that. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it was like this relationship where it was 3 different dudes, and then one of them got left out, so they found another one, and then he was cheating because he didn't ask them. I'm like, there's still rules within that, but it just seems like a game of telephone and a bunch of confusion.
Yeah,
You know?
and that's for me. And for me, just mentally, just sharing your space with somebody, being in a relationship, that's a lot of personality to deal with. You know what I mean? And then not to mention financially, it's like triple the money at that point. And then after that, no, honestly, and then two, men being men, I feel like after, you know, the way that men are, you know, all of a sudden now you need a fourth. You're never satisfied because now it's like, okay, I've been fucking these two holes. Now these two holes are born. Now we might need now we want to add somebody. Can't you just add somebody into the relationship from time to time versus try to be in a relationship with two people out like for a long period of time? Because I feel like you'd get bored with that.
Do them like Destiny's Child. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Switch them out, rearrange. No, I don't know. I couldn't do that. It's the jealousy part for me because I don't like to share. And then it's just the idea of having too many hands in the pot. And then, like I said, that True Life episode, it just clicks in my head. And I'm like, every person that I know of that has tried that, it doesn't really end well because somebody gets jealous or somebody wants more than what they originally agreed upon, even if it is polyamory. So I guess that does tie into what you were saying, Armand. It's like, you know, people get bored regardless. So
yeah, like who rides in the front seat of the car? Well, when someone's driving, like who gets that? Like who's the leader? I mean,
because I'll be damned if it's three of us and I'm the one always sitting in the fucking back seat because I'm gonna have something to say. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's just me.
It's the little, it may be the little stuff.
It's not for me because you're having complete full relationships with other people. Now, if a relationship evolves to an open relationship or where you have some people come in time to time, that's more what I could do versus like a polyamorous, have full-blown relationships with other people. And there's people who can do that and want to do that, and that's great, you know? It's all about, you know, life is what you make it, so if that's the life you want, beautiful. You know,
do you guys feel like this new generation is trying to change the face of what, you know, we've known society to be, or traditional relationships and the way we look at life? I kind of feel like I feel like it is because of this whole awakening, the spiritual awakening that everybody's into now. And all of a sudden now we're just starting to just put a bunch of shit together and say, you know, this is it. This is the new normal. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's a little bit of that happening here.
What I will say is that, you know, I work with kids a lot, teenagers a lot, so I get to see the younger generation and how they develop. And what I will say is that there are very loose boundaries when it comes to what you are, you know, what you categorize yourself as. And a lot of the categories that we would place ourselves in back in the day, those things don't exist. And it's a great thing on one end because it's like, okay, a lot of the things that I had to go through growing up, you guys don't have to go through that because there's not that category. But then at the same time, like, we don't really know what to call you. We don't really know what to do. You have to tell us. And sometimes in having to tell us, you have to get offended in order to correct us, if that makes any sense. So it's kind of like fishing for what is really going on.
I think that every generation is revolutionary, though. You know what I'm saying? I think every generation that comes on, they're just setting the standards for the next. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
That's honestly how I think it's going. And we're getting, as time is going on, we're getting more progressive and more open, and you know. So,
but okay, let's ask you this: with the progressiveness and the revolutionary of it all,
right?
At some point, do you think it goes too far? Or no, or it never goes too far. It just becomes the new normal.
Well, the thing is, what's for them is for them. You know, we don't have to do that, but we can make it more open to where they can be a real thing in the world too. And that's what the future probably is. You know, two people in a relationship, but allow the polyamorous to be a thing.
One of my worst fears.
It's certain things that we do now that the people in the generation before us don't agree with either. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's kind of just a repeating cycle. You know what I'm saying?
Like one of my worst fears is to be that old person, because I know that we've all experienced that one old person that is dead set on things being the way that they wanted it to be when it was their time.
Fine.
You know, and that's cool in your time. Kind of like what you're saying, Miles. Like, that's fine. You know, that was your time, but you have to let the new generation set the tone and the trend. So I don't want to be that person to be like, no. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want you guys to go through
But Sean, even if you are that person who says no, you know, that's your time. You're gonna die off. New energy is gonna be born on the planet, and that's how it works. You don't have to adopt the new
Right.
stances, but that's just what's coming in.
Right,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is, what's the point of me getting upset and angry?
No, I get
over
what you're
something
saying.
that-
I'm not really
Yeah,
talking
like,
about you, but I mean like the older people. Like,
and people will
they're
do
allowed
that.
to do that. Like, I let them be because they're not going to be around forever. You know what I
Right,
mean? That's
but
going to
what's
go
the
away.
point? Like, as far as
No,
for
there's no
us,
point. There's
what's
no
the point of us
you
getting
know.
angry and upset, you know, over something that we can't
Well,
control?
you're
That's
young
y'all's
now, so who
situation.
knows? You still
I mean, who
young.
knows? No, but I'm just saying, like, you know, we
Yeah, I get
shouldn't
what
get
you
mad
mean.
and upset about that because we have our generation. We're
Definitely.
doing what we got to do, even with us being on this platform, you know, and they have whatever they're going to do. So I don't want to
Exactly.
stop anyone's progress. I just can control
Right.
myself.
But I think
Right.
what's interesting, bringing it back to boys like us, you know, most all of us said that we probably wouldn't do it. Like maybe we're 4 out of, you know, hundreds of millions of people, right? Gay men. Now, in our lifestyle specifically, we know it's very promiscuous, it's very mixy. Now we're in the age of OnlyFans and the Tinders, the Jacks, the Grinders, and we know the lifestyle is very fast. And you know, the relationships, you're lucky if you can get past 6 months, you know. And so with that being said, when with new ideas of being polyamorous being kind of pushed towards the forefront, do you feel like it's going to make it harder for boys like us that want to date, you know, more monogamous, to find relationships? Because now more men are going to be open to the idea of sharing. Because now I'm finding that even without being polyamorous, more relationships are now open, like completely open. So now, you know, after it being open, it could just be like, well, why be open? Let's just have 3 boyfriends. Let's have 2 boyfriends. Like, you know, I feel like that's the direction that we're moving in, and maybe perhaps it may be harder to date now because some people may not want that.
Well, I'm
I
gonna
mean,
tell you this.
I agree.
I'm gonna tell you this, like, you know, the world can advance however it chooses to, and that's cool. But at the end of the day, a STD is a STD, and some chemicals don't mix the same in certain people. And so for me, when I think about that, yes, you can use a condom, you can do all these different things, but you know, for me, a STD isn't just a physical manifestation; it's also spiritual. So me just being aware with myself, I wouldn't engage in something like that because I don't like to intermix in that way. Now, if I'm going for someone, I mean, that would definitely make it a little bit more difficult because people are more open about it. But I would rather you be open about what you are versus you hiding it and then I find that out later in some kind of situation. So I would appreciate the openness off
But
top.
okay, so like mostly everybody's in a relationship on this panel. So if you got, we're lucky. But what do you say to the guy that looks up to us and they want a relationship, but then we're in this polyamorous OnlyFans type of open relationship type of world? What advice do you give them?
It comes to you, you know what I'm saying? Granted, we're in this progressive, you know what I'm saying, time. So there are going to be a lot of men who do like extras and things like that. But just like you want a monogamous relationship. I want one. There's somebody else who wants one too. You know what I'm saying? Don't break your back looking for it though. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta let it come to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing about it. You let it come to you. Don't break your back looking for nothing. If it's meant to be, whatever's meant for you is going to be for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with your mom.
I'm still seeing majority of at least black gay people want monogamous relationships, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the whites and Latinos and all of them, it can become a more normal thing. You know, what's for them is for them. I mean, you can always find what you're looking for. There's a lot of people on this planet. Definitely. So people...
Granted, it might be a little harder.
And what Sean's saying, I feel like with polyamorous relationships, it's like they are connecting with the different auras and different energies and all that, but it is the same people, I believe. You know, they do have these solid relationships. I guess that's different with an open relationship versus a polyamorous relationship, but yeah, I just wanted to say that. You know, like they're with multiple people, but they're the same people. They're actual genuine relationships where they have love for each other, genuinely.
At first, because
I believe they have love for people.
At first, because through my experiences, from what I've witnessed for the people that have actually went through that, like it starts that way at first, and it starts pure at first, just like any relationship. And then because there's that openness, you want to try something else. You know, kind of like what Armand was saying. Yeah, okay. you have two different dudes, but two versus one, it doesn't really make a difference. You're still gonna get tired of that at some point. So what are you gonna do now? Because you're polyamorous, you can open up to other people and do
But I
other
think
things.
polyamorous helps. It kind of stops that. I feel like an open relationship, that's more likely to happen, but a polyamorous relationship, it's like these are real relationships. They have conversations with each other, with all their partners before they introduce someone new into their life. I mean,
But granted,
mm-hmm.
whether they're just 2 or 3 or 4 people in a relationship, they're all going to have their different types of issues. They're all going to have their problems. Granted, it might not be the same one as a monogamous relationship, but I think they still have just as much or even more.
On top
No,
of
those are
on top of triangulation, do you guys know what triangulation is?
No, I definitely don't.
Okay, so it
That
is
sounds
a
like a word you just made
psychological.
up.
No, it's an actual term. It is a psychological term, and when you have more than one person involved in a situation, they can pit you against the other person, and sometimes that does happen in polyamorous relationships because you are able to maneuver around that. It's kind of like kids, like when they're able to, okay, daddy isn't giving me what I want, so I'm gonna go for mommy. It's the same kind of thing, only you have more room to do that because you have the polyamorous relationship. So that's another thing they would have to worry about because you got multiple people in a relationship. That's why one person always feels left out and then they want to find somebody else.
Well, I think everything has their pros and cons, and they can name. We can all list things to support our different viewpoints, right? So everything has its pros and cons. I mean, they have their reasons. I don't have those reasons because I don't want that, but they have their reasons.
Right. Y'all can have that. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? It's all good.
Do you feel like Will and Jada and Jaden and August were all in a polyamorous sex dungeon?
I mean, it would have been polyamorous. It would have been polyamorous if Will was consciously aware of all these things happening. That I don't know. Like that's a one-sided relationship. Like,
what do we think about Jaden? Do we think that Jaden is
with the shit?
Jaden.
Oh
yeah,
he gotta be the shit.
He gotta be. Yeah.
Why don't he come out? I don't want to hear Will on the
That's not a story. Tyler the Creator.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I think there was some truth in that. But I think I think that August and Jaden probably had a thing to think. But I think no, that was more Will. Will had that. Will and Jada had that. Yeah. Let me stop. I like August. You know, August sent me a DM. He sent me a DM and it was a long. Yeah, he sent me a long DM. He was cool. He fucked with me, but I can't. No, I can't. Not like that. But it was a DM like, hey, yeah. Now I would have seen what it was given though. I would have definitely tried to entertain the conversation just for for research purposes, bitch. Listen, hey, I'd have that conversation at home. I'd tell them, listen, you this is the way I'm doing this for the both of us. Okay.
Right.
So either you could get with it, or girl, you could act like you could turn this way, but it's happening. Okay. Seriously. No, honestly. Sometimes you just have to take a few for the team. Okay, but anyway. For the greater good. All right, come on. The Bible said. Anyway, all right, guys, let's stop playing around. We got to get moving. All right, so Janet Mock has went the fuck off. All right, she's fed the fuck up at Ryan Murphy and Pose and everybody. She went on a rant and said, fuck Hollywood. Ryan Murphy, I'm the one that brought the trans girls in. You didn't bring them in. Who brought the girls in? And she also told her nigga, Gabriel, whatever his name is, aka Angel. Poppy, you know, I cheated on him, and I fucked somebody on the cast. She just went into just a rant. Okay, so let's get into a little bit of Janet Mock and what happened. Yeah, she cheated on him, but mind you, I thought she was married, but she ended up divorcing back in 2019.
Ending after 3 seasons.
The fact that it's ending in 3 seasons, I think that's what's very interesting. But it premieres tonight at 10 o'clock on FX. So we're definitely watching,
and I'm gonna be watching.
Me too.
Definitely.
So okay, Janet Mock says fuck Hollywood and admits to cheating on boyfriend and demands more pay and Pose premiere at a premiere party speech. Now they got a little video, but this is not really much.
Hi Ryan, who brought the girls in? Who did? Ryan, what you do?
Because I told season premiere, baby, Janet Mock got up and gave a speech, and she just unraveled and told Hollywood Fuck you, okay? Pose is an iconic, legendary show that is ending too quickly. I mean, they kept Queer as Folk on for how many years? They could have did the same thing for Pose. Come on. My glitch in the Matrix is y'all were only paying this woman $40,000 an episode to direct. Excuse me? Y'all still owe Angelica Ross several awards for what she did in season 2, okay? I don't believe that Janet Mock should be blackballed from the industry, but hell, you know what they did to Monique. They don't like when people speak their mind. Hollywood just wants you to, shuck and jive for a coin. Ah, shanana Post season. Girl, fuck that job.
Okay, so what do you guys think about that?
Well, I feel like she is entitled to expressing herself however she chooses to. I feel like for Pose, I would rather it end now. I love Pose, by the way. I've seen all the episodes, you know what I'm saying? But I would rather it end now than to be something like, 13 Reasons Why, when they prolonged it and it just got worse and worse. I feel like for Pose, like it was definitely something for the culture, and I'm glad that we're ending it at that high, like at the high point. You know what I'm saying? So as far as like what she was saying, Hollywood does have a stigma against, people of our kind in any way, shape, or form. And I appreciate her honesty, but at the same time, it is going to come with backlash. I mean, and that's just the truth, because we already know how people are.
I mean, I know it comes a point in time when you just over the shit. Maybe she just couldn't take it no more.
She was done. Honestly. And by the way, I'm cheating on my boyfriend. By the way,
it was that part for me.
I mean, granted, I think she did a little too much at the time and the place. And knowing how the industry is, it's all or nothing. So I think that was a really bad decision on her part. But hey, I'm so mad this show is coming to an end. Really sad about that because I love the hell out of that show. But nothing we can do about it now.
Why would she announce that she was cheating on Poppy?
I don't know how that had anything to do with
that's kind of why, and that's the thing for me. Like everybody is like, oh yeah, Jenna Marks did this thing and she spoke out what she did, but the message got lost because it feels like you just had this rant. You felt guilty about fucking somebody on the cast, and I feel like she fucked somebody to try to get more money and it didn't work out. So she just pissed all the way around. She fucked her cat. She cheated on her boyfriend who's on the cast. She ain't making the money that she deserves to make. You know what I mean? She's brought these girls in. Ryan Murphy is this white man that is taking the underground ballroom culture and then mainstreamed it basically and gentrified it, making all this money off of it, and she's frustrated. And I just feel like she had a lot of different variables going into this. So I just feel like she shouldn't have done it that way because she was dealing with the fact that she cheated on her nigga. And I think that's started to just...
Oh, she cheated on Poppy. He's cute.
I wonder who she cheated with on the cast.
Who did you cheat with?
Was it Pray Tell? Like,
it probably was somebody behind the scenes.
Or somebody behind the scenes.
It was somebody with some power. It definitely had to be somebody with some power.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Poppy seems
so
like
that's what
nice
I feel like.
Yeah.
So I just feel like there's for a lady of her stature and she knowing Hollywood in the industry. And here's my thing, this is my issue. I don't like when anybody, they go on these TV shows, they sign these contracts, and then they get upset, and then they want everybody to rally behind them. Like, oh, I did this for the culture. Bitch, you took that $40,000. You signed that contract for that $40,000. You've been in the game for a long time. You didn't have to sign that paperwork, and don't feel like I'm supposed to rally behind you all of a sudden now, because I'm gonna be honest with you. If I'm a young trans writer, I'm not finna go rallying behind Janet Mock. I'm finna go rally up to Ryan Murphy. No shade. Like, I feel like a lot of times people be wanting us to fucking create the picket lines and burn down the fence and fuck up our opportunities because all of a sudden after you done made your millions, you done fuck people on the show. You know what I mean? You didn't sign these contracts. Now we all got to stand behind you. Well, bitch, I'm still broke. So you know what? Let me get my deal with Ryan Murphy, and maybe we can have a different conversation than you had. And then after that, let me make my own decision. Like, I'm not going to be over here saying fuck Hollywood and fuck Ryan Murphy because I ain't got Janet Mock money. I ain't had Janet Mock opportunities. So I'm damn sure not about to be burning no bridges with niggas that got power in the industry over behind Janet Mock or anybody else. I think the mistake that was made, just piggybacking off of what you were saying, was that maybe she signed the contract
thinking, okay, if I sign this, you know, I can go into the next season maybe asking for more, doing something to ask for more, and it didn't work like that. And so now she's upset. I just don't like the fact that she brought up the fact that she cheated on her boyfriend, because that does take the narrative somewhere else. Like, it just takes it somewhere else, you know, and then it makes people question your authenticity. Because if you're going to cheat on your boyfriend, that does make you a kind of a liar. So if you're going to, you know, proceed with these other things about things of us being unpaid and all this other extra stuff, you could have left that out for some other interview. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just takes away from the validity of what you're trying to say.
And so she was supposed to be premiering on Good Morning America to promote the show, and that appearance has since been canceled.
Wow. Yeah. That's
so, you know, I don't know, guys. I be with the rallying behind some of these celebrities and things like that. But you know, when they go on when they be like, fuck Viacom and fuck this network and fuck BET and fuck this, I'm not doing that. You on your own, love.
No.
You on your
what am I
own.
supposed to rally behind? I'm just like,
I mean, well, I mean, even
mad at the beast. You're mad at the machine.
Even when they be doing that with Love and Hip Hop and shit, I'm not finna get up here and say fuck Mona Scott and Love and Hip Hop.
Right.
I'm not finna do that. Because I ain't had my opportunity. You know, people, no, listen, they can say all they want to. They can burn all the bridges. Listen, I'll do it. Let me get in the door myself and figure out my own thing. You get what I'm saying? Because
the reality of it is you have an opportunity and you make the most out of your opportunity. It has nothing to do, like, you know what I'm saying? So she did what she chose to do with her stuff. I'm not gonna bandwagon on that and cut my opportunity off.
Well, I'm just being honest with you. $40,000 an episode for her probably ain't nothing, but that's a whole lot of a hell for me at this stage of the game. You see what I'm saying? So at this point, Janet Mock has written books, has had television shows, this and the third. So I understand.
Yeah, it's her. Yeah, she should be making double that at least.
It's hard for me to like
but at the same time, I see a lot of people that want to be in these spaces that she's been in, and they're rallying behind her saying fuck Ryan Murphy and fuck Hollywood, and it's like,
well, girl, baby, you ain't getting in them spaces, so I hope you
don't
really
let
Janet
Mock, don't run behind Janet Mock, who was running herself into a fucking black hole. Bitch, you just don't say nothing.
Right.
Like, I mean, everything ain't your fight for a small moment. Because let me tell you something. Ryan Murphy ain't going nowhere.
No.
Janet Mock might though.
But isn't Ryan Murphy very LGBT friendly? You know, so
and he white.
You would think he would want to fix this.
Yeah. She's a white Broadway. You know what I mean? So she's musical theater, Broadway. So you know she's got a coin, and then she's always going to be producing and having opportunities. So you got to move strategic. I see a lot of girls trying to clout chase, and we're Team Janet Mock and this, that, and the third, and da 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 da. I wouldn't say a motherfucking thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Nope.
But what are we rallying behind? She needs to get more money. That's what we're rallying behind.
Let's see what T.S. Madison said.
I mean, it don't matter because
T.S. Madison should care. Like, that's her brand. That's her industry, I guess. Like,
but she ain't stupid. You look at what Madison. You got to read between the lines of what Madison said.
Ooh,
I know y'all gonna let Janet cuss. I know y'all gonna let Janet cuss a bitch out if she need to. Y'all got to realize the pressure that's been on this woman to uphold a certain image in America for trans people. That shit got to be hard. If she had a ratchet moment, I definitely support it because quiet as it's kept, ain't none of us perfect and ain't no one perfect. Ain't no perfect way to be a trans woman. So if my girl went off, let her. Because, bitch, I go off all the time and could give a fuck how y'all perceive me. Do your thing, Janet Mock, and welcome home to the real side. Bitch, my door always open for you. You was one of the first girls to step in and help elevate me. I'll never forget that. Janet Mock. Now.
Yeah, get her on the show.
Now what you seen was chestnut checkers, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Yes, I am here for Janet Mock, trans and black community, this, that, and the third. But I am damn sure not about to mention Hollywood. Ain't no fuck Hollywood, and ain't no shade to Ryan Murphy. Ain't none of that, because that door still needs to be open in case I need a show.
And he puts a lot of people.
She ain't stupid. Right. Like, you got to really catch the tea. Mm-hmm. She danced in it.
I mean, but I appreciate that though.
But that's
so she's mad she was only making $40,000.
I appreciate that though, because T.S. Madison, you know, those kind of plays are what's going to get us in the door. Because if we stop at the Janet Mocks, then that's as far as we gonna get. But if you don't know how to play the game, you're not gonna get up there. So I appreciate what she's doing. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna help us in the long run.
Yes, definitely. So where she's mad that she's only getting $40,000 an episode.
Yes,
an episode.
So that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
Don't they have like 10, 11 episodes a season? Like, you
I don't
getting paid,
care.
girl. Like, you getting
I don't
paid.
care.
That don't matter though.
But these white people are making a lot more money.
Right. That
You know what I
don't
mean?
matter.
Right.
We got
But you
housewives making $1 million an episode, and she was a writer for this.
point. You
A
can get
housewife.
to that point. You can get to that
Right.
point.
Oh
You have
no,
to
she's
be
already
patient.
done enough.
Gal
She's
Gadot.
done enough.
Gal Gadot, the lady who played Wonder Woman, she only made $300,000, I believe, from the first movie, and people would think she would get more money. You know, I mean, I think that's a lot of money. I mean, for an actress, I mean, you lucky if you get a job.
But that's for us though. But when you think about how much these people are really making in TV and Hollywood, that $40,000 ain't shit.
Well, I'm saying Gal Gadot, the person who played Wonder Woman, got $300K, and that's small for a big time movie like that. But the next movie, she didn't make $300K, and she's been in other movies. She's not making only $300K. So I mean, you work your way up. I don't know. I don't know the behind the scenes.
I just feel like Janet should have focused on the long term. Like, what is the overall betterment? Like, what is the long-term game? Because you worried about the short-term, I'm not getting as much money as I'm supposed to be right now. Like, you really not going to get no more money. You keep talking like that. You know what I'm saying?
And again, what nobody is saying, which was smart, but at the same time, you know, all these people coming to Janet Mock's defense, and you know, I'm team Janet Mock. Well, first of all, let's talk about where it stemmed from. She got up and announced that she was fucking somebody on the show. So she was feeling guilty. She said it after she talked about not having the $40,000. So my thing is, this was a guilty conscience for me. Because this was unnecessary. So what are we championing? Like, but everybody trying to make it seem like she was fighting for the rights of trans and and equal trans equality. No, bitch, you were fighting that guilty conscience that you sucked that dick for a little extra lump sum and it didn't hit like that.
Oh my god,
it didn't hit like that.
And we could have left that out. Like, that could have been a TMZ interview, could have been something else. Like, we don't have to do that. And I feel like if she would have left that out, we would have had some kind of movement. But the fact that you added that in there, like, that just makes things confusing.
Messy.
Ooh. Yeah.
All right. So enough about Janet Mock. So now the next story on the docket is CAITLYN Bruce Jenner.
Yes, CAITLYN.
He says, I guess it's okay to call him a he.
CAITLYN Jenner.
He says, is that the right word? CAITLYN Jenner says, if you are a biological boy, you shouldn't be in girl sports. CAITLYN Jenner has a take on trans athletes you might not expect. Namely, if you're born a biological boy, you shouldn't be allowed to compete in girl sports, at least while you're still in school anyway. Okay, we all know that she's trying to run for California governor, and maybe that's a ploy. Maybe that's why she's doing it. Oh, as a Republican. So that's probably why she's doing this. They said she doesn't support trans girls born as boys participate in all-female sports. Yeah, we know. It's pretty interesting stance, especially coming from CAITLYN, who, of course, is a trans woman herself and a former Olympic champion. But check out her rationale. She chalks up it to fairness and protecting the integrity of girls' sports. It's a hot-button issue right now across the country. Upwards of 34 states are considering legislation that would ban trans athletes from competing based on their gender identity. And at least 5 have already turned the bills into law. CAITLYN's words are huge. She staked out her position, and it's stark contrast to Newsom's views. Let's get into what was said.
When beyond total feelings as a coach, you can show me everything on women's school sports teams. And the law you just signed banning transgender female athletes from playing on women's school sports teams. Can you name one example of a transgender child trying to gain an unfair competitive advantage at a school there in West Virginia?
Well, Stephanie, I don't have that experience exactly to myself right now, but I will tell you this.
Not yourself, your state, sir. Can you give me one example of a transgender child trying to get an unfair advantage? Just one in your state. You signed a bill about it.
No, I can't really tell you one, but I can tell you this, Stephanie. I'm a coach, and I coach a girls' basketball team, and I can tell you that we all know what an absolute advantage boys would have playing against girls.
But sir,
We
you
don't
have
do
no
that.
examples of this happening. Why would you take your time to do this? Let's talk about other things that I can give you examples of in your state. According to U.S. News and World Report, West Virginia ranks 45th in education, 47th in healthcare, 48th on the economy, and 50th in infrastructure. If you cannot name one single example for me of a child doing this, why would you make this a priority? I just named 4 things that would seem to me like a much bigger priority.
Well, Stephanie, I didn't make it a priority. It wasn't my bill.
You signed it.
I mean, it's just come to me, and I have absolutely signed it because I believe, from the standpoint of a coach, I believe that girls work so hard to obtain Title IX, and I do not have any idea now why we are trying to disadvantage them in participating in the sport that they put so much into. I don't know why we're doing that. This is not like it's a big priority to me. In fact,
Well,
I
you
think
signed
we
it,
only
sir.
have 12. No, Stephanie, listen. I think we only have 12 kids, maybe in our state, that are transgender type kids. I mean,
not transgender type kids.
Transgender type kids. Listen,
You're
Stephanie.
doing the best you can.
Hundreds of bills. Hundreds of bills. This is not a priority to me. And but with all that, I would say I think that it would impose an unfair disadvantage on the girls. And so from that standpoint, I support it.
Okay, he
All
said
right
what he
then, sir.
said.
Thank you, and please come back when.
So what do you guys? You guys want me to go first, or who want to go first? I support it. Oh well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say that he definitely has a point. I feel like we would need to test the levels in terms of like the testosterone, because throughout that process, there is a chemical process that does change and develop whenever you are becoming, if it was male to female or vice versa. So they do need to test the levels in order for it to be a fair advantage. I do believe that. I do believe it is something that we need to do, and I feel like it would just be fair and equal.
Yeah, I have little sisters. I don't want my little sisters playing against a transgender girl in high school. That's not right, because they're not taking the hormones. They're still boys.
Right. This
With
is
hair
like I said on the last show, pretty much like it should be like hormone and physical tests to, requirements and certain places and things that you should meet to be able to play with that certain gender that you want to play with. And I also don't think that Caitlyn Jenner should be speaking on anything trans.
Please don't.
You just transitioned a couple years ago. You have not really even lived like that. You haven't really.
He's still trans. He still has to go through that experience of coming out. Or she, excuse me. Oh my.
You can ask any other transgender woman you want to. He has not. I'm sorry. She has not went through half of the shit that most of these other trans women have went through. So I don't think her voice is valid anyway.
Well, I'm gonna say, I will say,
you don't think Caitlyn Jenner's voice is not valid as a trans?
Because what, she's Republican?
I'm gonna say that Caitlyn's voice is valid. However,
yes, Caitlyn's voice is.
I'm not trying to hear all
valid.
that. No. I'm not trying to hear all that because it just really just confuses me.
Because she doesn't agree. How would that's not no. We gotta go back. How is she not valid? Caitlyn is very much so valid.
Caitlyn is barely valid. How are you going to?
A lot of the trans girls don't like her.
I honestly think she's trying to favor for the Republican Party. If you want to be completely honest.
Oh no,
she's really.
But we're all agreeing that it's true.
I understand.
They shouldn't play. So
I still don't.
Correlation or causation?
I just don't.
Because she waited to 65 to transition. Because there's girls that wait to 40 and 30. I mean, they old girls in transition.
That's not necessarily, but.
No, it's because it feels like Republican means bad and Democrat means good.
Not necessarily. I didn't say that either. I didn't say that either.
You don't have to.
I didn't. I wasn't implying that either. So, I just don't. I don't agree with Caitlyn. We can agree to disagree on that, but y'all put words on off. I didn't say none of that.
Well,
so,
that's what I mean. Disagree.
That's what I mean. That's just it.
Caitlyn.
Point blank. Period.
Caitlyn
I don't
has
agree.
a point.
So, I don't got to.
Caitlyn has a point. Caitlyn has a point.
However,
However,
you feel. I feel. I feel. That's just that. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point of the show.
Okay, can I go now? All right. So Caitlyn, CAITLYN has a point about that topic. However, personally, I don't really agree with CAITLYN as far as like how she goes about what she goes about, because it seems like, you know, you're trans, obviously, but you're very pro like the opposite of that. And I'm just kind of confused as to what your standpoint is, you know, because we could have easily took all your medals and all that stuff away when you decided to transition. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing that confuses me, because
why would you take her medals away because she won them as a man? You lost me. She won the medals as Bruce.
Right, but people are still giving this person awards and still recommending this individual as Bruce, but you don't want to be called Bruce. Bruce is dead. Bruce is gone.
I would have agreed with you if you would have said if she should not have been Lady of the Year, Woman of the Year on Sports Illustrated or whatever that was they gave her.
But that's part of what I'm saying, basically. That's part of what I'm saying, is that like there's a fine line. So once you transition, you know, that person is gone. That person is dead, quote unquote dead. So we need to focus on that person. I feel like with CAITLYN, there's a lot of like, I don't know, it's like incongruencies. It's like you want us to be for you, but then what you're about seems to be the opposite of what you want us to be for, which is you.
But I think, hold on. On the flip side, though, I think that CAITLYN is kind of in a weird way, kind of like almost like a Flame Monroe. Like, okay, so, and the thought process is different. Like, there are some trans people that like to be referred to as he, she, her, she, you know, female, woman, whatever. Okay, and they feel like they are women, but then there are others that live in this existence and they come out like, listen, I'm born a man. I know I'm a man under this hair, these titties. I am a man. You know what I mean? But I want to look like this. So I'm a transgender woman, but biologically, I'm a male. And you know what? And it's okay if people call me him, hey, daddy, and he. You know what I mean? And so maybe CAITLYN just doesn't take that standpoint of, you know, just because I have chest, breast, and hair, that I'm just a real woman. I'm not a real woman. And does that mean that her stance is not valid because she doesn't take on that ideology? It's like confusing.
They're saying her stance is not valid because of what she supports politically.
I just think she's soliciting, and I think that's just it. You know what I'm saying? To the Republican Party, and not that it's bad or that it's good. I just think that's the only reason that it was being said.
Well, I think it's definitely to try to benefit her in the election for sure. But go ahead.
Two things can be true. Two things can be true. It can be true, and she could also be using it to her benefit. But if she could easily just not deny a fact and it be to her benefit, why not?
I mean, which is to be one of the governors of the Republican Party. Like, that's what she's shooting for. So, of course, her views are going to match that.
This is something that I wish wasn't the case. I really wish this wasn't the case. But if it is what it is, that's just what it is, you know? And if it just happens to work for her, it worked in her favor because it's something that's true. And she's a trans woman. She's a Republican. It kind of all goes together.
But what I will say is that if she was elected to be a governor of any kind, I don't know if it's governor, governess, whatever, I feel like that's going to be extra hurtful because you have a trans individual representing us that is speaking against a lot of the things that a lot of people don't agree with. So it's going to be hurtful for a lot of people, although what she's representing is a demographic of people that probably feel the same way. But just imagine someone standing up there and kind of like going against what you're fighting for in a lot of different ways.
What is she going against, though? She's going against the...
She's basically saying that trans are men. And a lot of trans women fight to be women, identified as women and not as men.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But typically, those are going to be the ones that get pushed through the ranks. Flame Monroe was no different. She gets on the Breakfast Club. She gets these big
she's calling trans. Is it just about the sports, or is this a general thing she's doing?
I'm gonna make it black and white. As black and white as I am right now. Society is not ready to accept transgenders being the opposite sex as what they transition to be. So if you get a trans person like a Flame Monroe, a Caitlyn Jenner, and says, yes, I wear hair, makeup, nails, but I'm still a man, guess what? They're going to support you more than they support a transgender woman that says, hey, I identify as she, her, and woman, ma'am, and miss, you know, because they don't want to believe that. They don't want to accept that. So they will accept a transgender female that says, yeah, you can call me he, because they want to do that anyway.
But you know what? Whether CAITLYN realizes it or not, and regardless of what we say, I do feel like CAITLYN is being used. Like you're being used, regardless of what your position is, you are being used to speak to what we're trying to move away from.
Yes, I agree.
You're being used.
And guess what? So many people hate Caitlyn Jenner or hate the Kardashians, but guess what? Caitlyn has probably gained so many more straight fans, black and white, because she is allowing to be, in a sense, be misgendered.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why you feel like she doesn't have a right to speak. I could agree with that right there.
You kind of touched that.
You know what I mean? I kind of feel like that. I feel like that, you know? So I feel like...
I just think it's disrespectful. I think it's kind of rude on behalf of the transgenders who actually, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just think it's disrespectful for them. That's why I'm just so passionate about it. I just think it's really disrespectful. That's all.
But see, and here's the tea, though. It is very disrespectful and it's uncomfortable, but it's also a fact. So they get to use that. You know what I mean? As disrespectful and as nasty as it is, it's a fact. You know what I mean? And that's the fucked up part. Yeah. Because you can use even though like it's like we don't even need to go there, but it's like it's the fact. So they can use it to their advantage.
That's kind of like somebody of a higher stature in the black community, say Obama, when he was president, getting on stage and he's bashing the black community when he's like kind of the face of, you know what I'm saying?
Is she black?
But that's what they had Stacey Dash for. Why do you think they pushed her up? They pushed her up because it's someone that looks like us telling us that what we're believing is wrong. So those kinds of people are going to be pushed up. Yeah, they're going to use us against us. And in this situation, they're using Caitlyn, whether Caitlyn truly believes this or not, they're using Caitlyn against her community because it's like, look, it's one of you guys basically saying the opposite of what you're trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
what do you realize? One community doesn't have to have the same opinions, though. Everyone from one community doesn't have to all agree with this. We're not ants or something. You know?
Yeah, and I understand that, but I think the issue is the person that comes with the most opposite salacious. Like, okay, let me go on a smaller level, on like a YouTube level. There were certain content creators that, you know, they were gay content creators that would always come for like me and things that I would say because a lot of our audience here is women, right? So when I would go say fish and things like that, they would go on their platforms and try to pander to that women audience as if they weren't gay. And so they would let the women come in and disrespect gay people, and they would get on the thing and say, you know, they getting fucked in his ass and this and they're gay, and you know what I mean, just to try to pander so that they can build their platform and get donations and get support. So I feel like that's what Caitlyn Jenner is doing, going against the narrative. Instead of standing up for the community, it's better to go against the community because the minority or the majority is transphobic. You know what I mean? So if you pander to that transphobic narrative, you get more votes, you get more sponsors, you get more money. It's no difference to when you have gay men, all of a sudden, you know, they allow women to come in and bash us on their platform because it gets them more money. You know what I mean? Because you know it opens a space for them to say like, yeah, you know, you're gay. That's why I like you, because you're not like them. You don't call us fish. You put women first. You're this, you're that. Whereas, you know, over here, I say, bitch, it's about us boys. Now you have other people say, no, even though I'm gay, I put women first. It's this, that, and third. Where do you think they're going to go with their support? Not here. Even if that person doesn't feel that way, they know what to say to evoke the emotion and get the money. Whereas me, they'll just, I'm not going to subscribe to him because he's not saying it's all about the women first. I'll get on here and say, fuck you, it's about my boys on Sunday. You don't like it, you can kick rocks. They'll get on there and say, it's all about women. And it's like, you're gay. Why are you not standing up for us? Because that's not the majority. And so that's what Caitlyn is doing.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is most trans women agree that trans kids should be allowed to play in the women's leagues or vice versa.
I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, the bottom line, the foundation of all of it is that trans people want to be treated equally. So when you look at equality, that is one facet of equality. So of course they're going to want that. And
you would want it, but is it true? You know, there's pros and cons to every life we live. You know, we can't have it all.
I kind of digress on kind of what I said. Caitlyn Jenner is an Olympic, Olympic medalist. You know,
Bruce is an Olympic medalist. Bruce.
I get what you're saying.
Bruce is so. there is a lot of knowledge when it comes to physicality and working out and stuff like that.
True.
She does have a lot of knowledge when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just saying
true.
as a whole. I just think it's more so because it's just pandering to
I
a
feel
certain audience.
like
I
two
can see
things can
that.
be true, and she's definitely using it to her advantage for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So listen, we'll take a couple calls if anybody wants to get in on this. We're not going to wait all day because we are not going to do it. This is not going to be a 2-hour show. So if you guys want to get on here, you can get in here, and we can get into some things. All right. With that being said, I just think it's interesting because I'm sure Caitlyn Jenner has gained a lot of female fans. Like
I'm
so,
pretty sure.
just like Flame and Roe gets a lot of women fans because they allow you to misgender them and call them he. Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope it's worth it, and I hope that she wins, because if she doesn't, I mean, you're gonna have to undo all of that, and you'll have to start dishing out apologies like Stacey Dash did when she realized it didn't take her far.
But I feel like Caitlyn only lets people say he because she's been she's been a male for so long, so she feels like it's easier on her kids if you can still call me dad, because that's what you've been calling me. You know, she's being sympathetic or empathetic towards her family, I believe, when she says you can call
family
me dad.
don't even fuck with her.
Everybody isn't that lenient as Caitlyn though. You know
And that's
what I'm saying?
fine. They don't have to be, but that's the
But that's
reality
kinda
she
what
wants
they're-
for herself. We are not an echo chamber. Like, you can live
Yeah,
where you
I
want to
know, but
live.
that's what they're. She's making them green light it. She's green lighting the fact that you can call me this. So when they come across the next transgender person, they're gonna do the same thing.
But she always used it in reference to her family. Like, you can call me dad because I've always been your dad. Like,
That's
you've
different
known
though.
me
Yeah, I
as a
feel that.
man for so long. Yeah.
All right, child. Well, we don't have anybody that want to come on, so here we go. We got somebody right here. Hello. Hey.
Greetings.
What's up?
Hello?
Hey, Brianna.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to chime in before y'all were through with this conversation. I agree with I don't know your name, the guy who said Bruce was a previous athlete, so he has a lot
That
more.
was me.
I don't know your
Jalon.
gender term, so I don't want to like.
Oh no, he him. It's me.
Jalon.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's very true that you know men are biologically have.
Okay, I can't take this. Okay, because it's just giving a lot. Jaleesa?
Get your signal.
Hi.
So I just wanted to say I do agree with Jalon and what he was saying, because I get that it might come off kind of harsh, but I think a lot of people forgot that Caitlyn has supported anti-trans initiatives before, and she was very open about that because she was kind of supporting Trump at the time, and a lot of trans people were like canceling her, and they didn't like what she was saying and how she was going along with everything. They felt like it was disrespectful to the community. And also, another problem with Caitlyn is that I see Jalon's point where he says, you know, she can't really relate to the trans experience because when she first came out, trans women, I watched the episode and other trans women were saying they can't relate to her because of her privilege, and how being a trans woman is more about, you know, dressing up and being glamorous and being on the front of magazines, because for a lot of Black trans women, you know, some of them have to resort to sex work just to be able to pay, you know, for certain things. And so they could not connect with what her journey was. But I understand that, you know, in some ways she can relate, but I don't think that she should be an advocate.
No,
Well, I think don't
I don't
people
agree
make
with that
her
either.
advocate?
I don't think so either.
I feel like people just make people advocates automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
once you
feel
start
like
speaking in support of a certain party, you're going to be
you're going to be an advocate on top of having the old identity of being Bruce. I mean, people, regardless of what we would idealistically want a person to be, we're going to still remember you as Bruce. So we're going to still be attached to the person that you are. And I feel
that's
like
why it's so hard, because she's still male identified a little bit.
Right. But why? But we have to think about why. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because people are on Bruce's side. Why? Because Bruce was this award-winning individual. Like, of course, you don't want to completely detach from Bruce because Bruce is part of the reason why you got to the platform of being CAITLYN.
And I see a comment that says
through.
straight people make her an advocate. And that's only because straight people like what she's saying.
Right.
And that's why
There you
straight
have
people
it.
make her
I
an
agree
advocate.
100%.
And it's coming from a person that looks like trans. So of course, why not go ahead and promote this individual because it's a trans person speaking about trans issues, giving that straight message. So of course, that's what they're going to want because it's going to try to convince people to think the opposite of how they've been thinking.
Hello.
Okay. Hi.
Hi everyone, it's me again.
Hey, Cindy.
Oh, hey,
Hola.
Cindy. What's going on?
Hi. Okay, I just want to hop on the conversation. I'm gonna be real quick. Last show we was on it for a while, but in terms of Caitlyn Jenner, I feel like just because she transitioned, she still holds those same values she had when she was a man. You know what I'm saying? She has always been a Republican, from my understanding, and has honestly, she's barely voted in most election, but every time she has voted, it has been Republican. So she's just because she transitioned, she still has a certain mindset, and she's an old trans person too. She
Yeah.
was born. You got to think about. She was born in a time where that was completely a no. Like if you came out as trans, that could have been like, death for you right there and then, right? So she came out at the right time. She knew what she was doing, you know. But my whole point is that what she's saying isn't true. But I don't like her personally politically. If you know anything about her and her stance on stuff, but she said she agreed with Trump. She said a lot of anti-gay, even anti-black stuff in the past too. So I cannot support, I can't support her, but I can agree with that, that one statement she made, you know?
Right.
So I definitely, and in terms of transgender children playing in women's sports, or transgenders in general playing in women's sport, I think no matter how we try to break it down, we use compassion, we understand that, trans people do want to be the gender they feel inside, like the gender they identify, but biology is motherfucking biology, excuse me. And there's nothing we can change about that. And there is always going to be an unfair advantage regardless of even the estrogen you take. Yes, it's going to decrease your testosterone, and you're not going to be as strong as as you were before. But at the end of the day, I mean to say is that XY chromosomes are still there. Uterus you don't have, all of these things that make a woman more like, I won't use the word weaker, but not as strong as men is, it's still there, like I wouldn't want to get in a fight with a transgender woman, even though I do see her as my equal as a woman. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
don't fight me. Like, you can't fight me, because I will that's just my opinion.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Cindy. Love you, Cindy. Okay, she was finna go to another place. All right, y'all. So listen, this has been another episode of Boys Chat. I'm not sure where Sean went. He had to step away, but we have to wrap because it's just time to wrap. All right. So, there's Sean right there. Okay, boom. So, you can find me all over your social media at the Armand Wiggins Show. Okay, we only got 2 more episodes left.
Ooh.
And then we're gone. Until next time. Oh my God, when is our last day? So the last voice chat will be May 16th. Dun, 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 dun. Then it's time for a hot boy summer.
Yes.
So that is the day. I'm trying to get some of our favorite boys from here. I'm trying to make it a lit situation. We'll see how it goes. It'll probably be a chill. Just we talk about whatever. But yeah, so that is our last show in 2 weeks. So we only got 2 shows left. This one and the last one. So yeah, that's what I want to say, and then I'll swing it over to Miles.
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Miles_Spears. Twitter is 18 plus. Also OnlyFans, Miles_is perfect. I have 2 YouTube channels. Just search up Miles Spears. But really check out Miles at the Matrix. I love that channel. Sean.
All right, well, you guys can find me on @Sean Christopher. You can find all my information, all of my color block stuff that we just did. Remember, Rhythm and Culture just came out a couple of days ago, so congratulations to that. Check that out. And that's all I got. Jalon?
Yeah, y'all can get at me on Instagram and Twitter @Jalon right here. Shoot me DM, talk to me. I'm pretty cool.
Yes.
All right. Until next time, we will see you guys on another episode of Boys Chat. Peace out.